Ohio, Pennsylvania, Athens, Wyoming, Calgary. Wow. Philadelphia, my kitchen, bless. Like that. Hainswick, Nevada, Ipswich. Wow, that's where I was born. Toronto, Alabama, Boston, Hartlepool, Isle of Wight. That's where my kids were born. St. Mary's Hospital, Newport, Iowa, Derry, Calgary, Stratford upon Avon. Oh dear, that takes me back. What a beautiful part of the world that is, Shakespeare country. I lived in Wellesbourne, just up the road. Well, Loxley Lodge, at Loxley Hall, many years ago. So, right. Well, welcome to everybody. This is an incredibly busy weekend this weekend. Painful for me because I know things I'm not allowed to say, but fingers crossed that we'll get some green lights that I can tell you everything that's going on. Super exciting weekend and the next few days. And there's so many distractions out there. I mean, ridiculous amounts of distractions. A shout out to Tiana Islam, who's I've done quite a few shows with. A young Bangladeshi girl living in the UK who managed to break down the video of the fake plane with all the people running in Afghanistan. Thank you, Tiana, for your detective work, because it seems like all the mainstream media thought that was a real plane, but it just shows you how they're controlled. And of course, thank you to Colonel Haroon, who's the ambassador for Afghanistan, who I'm very, very good friends with, who pointed out to me that the women that were screaming in the streets in the video were actually talking in Syrian, so that they weren't from Afghanistan, and it's not in Afghanistan. So again, the mainstream media put that out as complete and utter rubbish. And for those who know, the picture of all those people stuck in the plane, you could reverse Google that one, and that was taken in 2008. So all this mainstream media stuff is not that hard to debunk, but it's just a question of getting people. And I'm going to have a couple of guests on in about 10, 15 minutes who are going to help me debunk a lot of stuff. Because what we need right now is to understand what's going on. And we've got certain people who've managed to decode and debunk everything. And it's fascinating when you start to unpick it. I remember being told a year ago, for those who remember a year ago, I said on my videos that they were going to use their own tools to take them down. They were going to use their own tricks, their own numerology, their own symbology to destroy them. And yet again, I was right. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're using all of their own ammunition to take them down. So it's absolutely beautiful for me, having said this a year ago, that this is what they were going to do, to see it come true. Deep in my heart, I knew it was going to happen because the people that told me, I trust implicitly. But when you actually see it, it gives you such a feeling of warmth. And for the first time for a very long time, I came in contact with some trolls a couple of days ago. I was sitting here in the apartment, and I decided to watch David Nino Rodriguez, who I think the world of. It's a smashing guy, and he's just got a grip on what's happening. And I commented on how well he was doing. And we've already got negative 48 coming in here. Michael Protzman, welcome, Michael.
How you doing, Charlie?
I'm great. Well, it's great to be in contact with you. Really is. We've got Tom going to join us in a moment. But this is very valuable because for my followers here, negative 48 is the handle for Michael. And he got picked up the other day by Donald Trump in comment because he's been bang on the money. And this is what is very, very good, that we can all connect together. And as I've said many times, we're all pieces of the puzzle. And seeing as we've got negative 48 here, we're going to have Tom numbers on in a moment as well, so that we can break down this sort of stuff. So welcome to you, Michael. If you want to introduce yourself to my audience, I'd be very grateful.
Well, my name is Michael Brian Protzman, and there seems to be a lot of confusion out there because all my numbers line up with the Kennedys, and
Yeah,
I'm just after truth and justice. That's it. I started in '02, studying money, health, and China on the side for fun, and found out real fast that they were all three connected. And and I knew the people were being lied to, and I knew they deserved to know the truth. And then I was working day and night, because of the housing crash in '08. And I started a business in '07, knowing it was coming. Not the best time to do it, right? But I just was working hard day and night. And then finally in December of 14, I decided I didn't have to work day and night. I was either going to work day or night. And I started studying, and I realized that, I was going to put these bastards down that killed my president.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I've been working on it every day since.
Yeah, and for those people who don't know, Donald Trump and John F. Kennedy Jr. were very, very good friends many years ago. And Donald Trump made a commitment to John F. Kennedy Jr. that he would deal with the perpetrators that killed his father. And that is exactly what's been happening for the last 5 years. And this is all a massive process. And we're very, very fortunate to be alive at this time to actually see justice. It's many, many times we see crimes committed, but we never actually get the chance to see justice. At this moment in time, we're going through a period where we're going to be privileged enough for those people who are awake to see justice for those who did what was completely wrong. And I'm very, very grateful to have you on here, Michael.
Well, thank you. We're all responsible for where we're at, because if we let these people run over us, we deserve what they're going to give us. And some of us just don't want what they want to give us, because it's not even remotely close to just us.
Yeah,
For just us. That's how they look at it.
sure. Exactly right. Well, maybe you could give my audience more of an insight as to what you come to understand.
Well, on drop 40, Q drop 40,
Yeah,
it says 4, 10, 20. And then the line below it, it says A, B, C, D, E, dot, 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 dot. So it's clear to me that 4 is D. I mean, it says 4, 10, 20. So 4 is D. And then 10 is the dot, dot, dot. You have to continue. Obviously, it's the alphabet. And so you're counting on our fingers back in the day, and we find out that J is 10. And then 4, 10, 20. 20 is T, DJT, Donald J. Trump. And so then it's like, holy crap, they're talking to us in this language, And then I told a friend named Jacob, and then he disappeared for like 30 days and came back and blew my mind, because he actually read a book and educated himself. And I still, this day, have never read that book, but I've learned a lot of secrets from him. And so I pretty much know most of them. And so I just realized that Trump was talking in code. The first example, you go back 33 years ago, and Donald Trump's on the Nopra show, and she asked him, "Hey, Donald, do you think you're ever going to run for president?" He says, "Probably not." Probably is 91, not is 49. Let's see what Donald really said. "Hey, Donald, you think you're ever going to run for president?" POTUS, yes. POTUS, 91, yes, 49. So he's obviously, talking in code when you do some more, because that could be an accident. But the more you do, the more you realize that he's really talking to us. And he wears that red coat open all the time with that big long red tie, super long, so the press makes fun of it. And that red tie, he wears it 90% of the time for a reason. Red tie, red 27, tie 34, JFK 27, DJT 34.
Wow.
Wow is 61, just like 27 and 34.
Yeah.
U 61, Wow 61, Oh My 61, News 61, QAnon 61, Miracle 61. Get ready for a miracle, Charlie, because they said it was going to be the greatest story ever told. There's only one way that's possible, Charlie.
Yeah. That's true. And I just said just now, we're so blessed, all of us that are listening to this right now, we're so blessed just to be alive and awake and aware to the greatest show the earth has ever seen.
Yeah, he came down the escalator on June 16th, 15. And it was 167th day of the year, which left 198 days in the future. So on that day, the future was 198. Well, 167 is enjoy the show. 198 is President Trump.
Yeah.
It's more things that, there's more messages there. Trump went around and handed out all kinds of intel and control files on these freaks, and they all folded within 24 hours. They all handed over all the power and all the money, because they were going to be Gitmo Garden fertilizer within the week if they didn't. And so he became the king of the world. So king of the world, 167, 167th day of the year.
Yeah.
King of the world, 167. President Trump, 198.
Yeah.
That's 365, and 3 and 36 and 5 is 41, USA 41, King 41.
Yeah.
MAGA plus KAG is 41. MAGA is 22. KAG is 19. 22 and 19 is 41. King 41. So there's a lot of meanings on all these numbers. And then we're always told to think mirror. And of course, think mirror is 153, which is the 17th triangular number, meaning if you put one bowling pin down for A, 2 bowling pins down for B, 3 for C, 4 for D, by the time you get to the 17th row, which is Q, you'd have 153 bowling pins down there. And so think mirrors 153, John Kennedy Jr. 153. And it's quite the puzzle, and we believe we've figured it out. And we can't always, tell every piece of it, but and we've promised to tell the story on the Scott McKay show, and then the show number 3 that Mickey Klon and Sabrina Gal, who's an admin on my channel, and Tom Numbers is going to do. We just Lisa Marie was supposed to be on yesterday with Tom and I and Mickey, but she had a family issue that came up. She didn't want us to stop because we were kind of behind schedule, so she said just go ahead and do it without her. And she does a really cool show called the Hopi Indian Prophecy, and then Trump retweeted it. Il Donaldo Trumpo. he tweeted that's the same night, just like when we were I was down in Palm Beach filming some iguanas, put up 3 iguana videos on negative 48 chat, and next thing you know, Il Donaldo Trumpo made iguana the word of the day that day. And so he's watching us. They said they'd be watching us, and they are. And Tom has plenty of what he calls Trump proofs, is Tom's words, where Tom says stuff and then Donald responds. And we have a lot more that are in the people that do our show, and we call it a show. There's lots of different presenters on our channel that do shows, and so it's just not me, but it has grown really fast because of Mickey and Tom that put everybody together. That like yourself. It's going to grow faster now that your listeners are going to hear this and realize that it's something they are interested in. Then they'll go over and look at it. So it's been real fun.
I've said the whole way through this journey, Michael, that every single piece of the puzzle is incredibly valuable. And when we put all the pieces together, we start to understand exactly what's going on, because a lot of people have been living in fear and not knowing because they didn't know what was going on. But the more people we get together that are on the same frequency, the clearer everything becomes.
Yeah.
And it's so many little things. Like this weekend, I've had 5 or 6 different messages from completely different people, different areas of information, and they're all on exactly the same frequency as to what's happening this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla said the secrets of the universe are frequency, energy, and vibration.
Yeah.
And if you only knew the magnificence of 369, and 369 spelt out, come to 150. Trump train equals 150.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all out there. It's all out there if we understand it.
Yeah.
And this is where these sort of gatherings, if you like, and explaining the other thing it does, it'll inspire my audience to start looking at some of this stuff. And then suddenly, the first time I came into contact with Tom, I had no idea about this. None at all.
I know. I mean, we were back in the day, we were counting on our fingers because we didn't know anything.
Sure.
Back when we first read the first drop, on Q drop 40, we were sitting there going, what's 10? A, B, C, counting our fingers. And then
Charlie, hey, negative.
How you doing? How you doing, a gematria teacher?
How you doing,
Charlie,
gematria master?
Charlie, listen. So he calls me. I don't even know where the phone is. I'm trying to find it. I look at it, it says 531. So we're supposed to think mirror, right? 135, a gematria teacher, 135. Insiders Club, 135. And he's calling me about this Insiders Club, So Insiders Club equals 135. And a gematria teacher's 135, and the mirror reflection's 531. He called me at 531 this morning.
Wow.
Wow is 61, which is you, 61, Charlie. Miracle, 61. You're a miracle. We're all a miracle.
Well, thank you for coming in, Tom, as well. And thank you for bringing in Michael, because Michael came on earlier and he's just been explaining and introducing himself to my audience. Because the most important thing is to get you and Michael in the front of as many people as possible. Because what it does is it takes away people's fear.
Yes. It certainly does, Charlie.
Yeah.
I always like to introduce Michael with these numbers. It's probably not shared them just yet, but so you know how the numbers work, Charlie. A to Z, 1 to 26.
Just for the record, just as you started there, it was 1717 here in Bulgaria.
There you go. And 17 plus 17 is 34, which is DJT, which is grace.
Yeah. Which is 1. But we're going to get to 1717 in a second. Believe it or not. We're going to get to 1717 in a second. You'll find out.
You'll find out. Yeah. So I wanted just to introduce Michael really quickly in terms of the numbers for everyone, and I'll hand straight back to Michael, Charlie. And so he goes by the handle negative 48. Negative comes to 83. 48 is 48, which actually comes to Tom. So he always jokes he's negative Tom. And I'm positive Michael. But that's another topic. But negative 48 actually comes to 131, which comes to belt of Orion. But also, interesting enough, it comes to John F. Kennedy. And if you do Michael Protzman comes to 174, which comes to Trust the Plan. Eye of the Storm comes to Currency Reset, Currency Exchange. Comes to others as well that Michael will share in a moment.
You'll find out.
You'll find out. Yeah, you'll find out. 174. And if you do Michael's full name, which is Michael Brian Protzman, that comes to 218. And 218 comes to where we go one, we go all. It comes to, interesting enough, it comes to John F. Kennedy Jr. So Junior spelled 87, Juinoior, Junior, the full word. So that comes to 218. It also comes to the phrase, hear sound of my voice, 218. And there's a whole host of other ones as well. And I think we did Guardians of the Galaxy last night, if I remember correctly. Michael was 218. But there's a whole host of them. And Protzman, his last name, comes to 123. So it's A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. It was in Michael Jackson's song. And 1, 2, 3 comes to the word gold, which is 38, plus the word silver, which is 85. Gold and silver, 1, 2, 3. It comes to Abraham Lincoln, 1, 2, 3. So there's a lot of powerful numbers within Michael's name.
And it comes to 2 and 7 spelled out, 123 and JFK 27.
Yes. Yeah. 27 is AZ, so it's all there, Charlie, as you know.
Everything is there when you understand it, and this is the art of war, is understanding. For those people who want to, not everybody wants to understand it. I get that, but for me, I'm fascinated because I like to understand things. Because when you understand things, fear disappears because you understand it.
Yes.
And that's, at the moment, there's a lot of people living in fear because they don't know what's going on. And the more you know what's going on, the more, and as I said, before you came on, Tom, I mentioned a year ago that they were going to use the codes that they use against them. They were going to use the codes that they've used against us. They were going to use all of these things, numerology, symbology, and everything else, against them in return. And this is exactly what we're seeing right now. Exactly. And the codes that are out there, I remember when I first started talking to you, Tom, I don't know if you remember this, but I was talking to somebody, one of the ambassadors, and he said that if Trump mentions your son's name in this evening's briefing, then you know that you're on track. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he walked out on waving a paper and he said, we've got the, I think it was the employment figures just in. And I sat there and I had a shiver go down my spine because I was thinking, how on earth they managed to get Justin's name into anything? I didn't even think of it. And then, but it was so beautifully done, and I just froze at the moment. And this is how they work. This is how they work. Everything is out there if you understand what you're looking for. And when in the First World War, everything was done in Morse code.
Mm.
The Second World War, it was done in another form of code. And now we're dealing with numerology, symbology.
Gematria. Yeah.
And it's understanding that for those people who want to understand and want to, I just find it completely fascinating as to what things add up to and why certain things are said and why certain things are done. Tom was the first person I knew that picked up even on the color of the hair change, the color of the tie change.
Yeah.
Specific things that were done at specific times, and the Bible in front of the church that he held up. All these things are symbology.
I've got some colours here for you today, Charlie. I'll do it at the end when we finish. But there's some codes in here that I did for you, me, and Michael for sure.
Okay, I'll share with us both. You can both carry on because it's a pleasure to have you both here.
Well, I'll let Michael talk about well, whatever you want to, Michael. But the red tie. I mean, there's a lot of symbolism in the red tie from Donald Trump.
Yeah, we we did a little red tie before.
Okay. Well, did you do a 351, a 351?
No, we didn't. We did a 135, and we did a 153. So I mean, 153 is A through Q, and A through Z is 351. So God communicates through numbers 351. So that means between A and the 26 bowling pins down that are on row Z, if you count Z, Y, X, all of them all the way to A, you have 351 bowling pins. So God communicates through numbers 351, the 26 holy letters 351, the manifestation of Jesus Christ 351. So if God, G-O-D, is 26, G is 7, O is 15, that's 22, and D is 4, that's 26. So if God is 26 and it's 351, that means we would have to be 153, the mirror image. Well, Q, A through Q, is 153. And humanity, 111. God creation, 111. Perfection, 111, because the letter U is 21 in the alphabet. So 777 jackpot, you were created in his image, you're perfect. So perfection, 111. God creation, 111. Humanity, 111. Man, woman, Q, 111. See, at the start equals 111. When the sperm is halfway in the egg, that's a Q. That's you. That's the point of conception. That's when life begins. This intelligent design language proves that the point of conception is the start. The start, 111, man, woman, Q, 111. So every Q in the English language is followed by a U. You should be following Q. You are your mom and your dad. Q and Q, 17 and 17. I told you it was going to come up. And 17 and 17 is 34, which is grace, which is one, O-N-E, because he's the one and we all follow him. Father, Son, Holy Ghost, 111. The start, 111.
New York, 111.
Yeah, so I mean, 351, the holy language of God is in numbers, 351. Alphabet is 26 letters, 351. The gematria door that no man can shut, 351. The terms of simple English gematria, 351. The interpretation of God's language, 351. English is 26 letters, 351. Jesus Christ is the English alphabet, 351. God coded every English alphabet letter, 351. God's prophecy is the English alphabet, 351. And there's, a whole lot more. So it proves that this is an intelligent language. And, just with the 111s, humanity, 111, we're humanity. God creation, we're God's creation. Perfection, 111, we're perfection. We're creating his image, And man, woman, Q, 111. That's baby. Baby is 30. What is also 30, Tom? Hit it.
Gold, well, the atomic symbol for gold is AU, and the atomic symbol for silver is AG. So A plus U is 22, and which is MAGA, which is deal. And A plus G is 8. Add them together comes to 30. So gold, silver also equals baby, most precious.
So we also have a 22 and an 8. The best is yet to come, 228. The best Kennedy to come, 228. I'm on a mission from God, 228. This is what Trump and Q are telling us. And back in the day, you had a guy named Scott who was on your insider call in the morning from Oregon, military intelligence guy. And he floated my name across your desk, Charlie, for about 3 days. And then something else came across more important and I was gone because you already had Tom.
Well, little did we know, Michael. Little did we know.
Yeah, it's perfect that it's happening now the way it's happening. So it's with you instead of by myself. This is, we're kind of hooked at the hip now.
Yeah, we are. It's an honor. And Charlie's the one that launched me. Charlie's the one that launched me and gave me a platform. So I'll always be eternally grateful to Charlie, you know, and he's a great man.
Yeah, he was just putting out tons and tons and tons and tons of videos with tons of people. Great is 51, Michael 51, QQQ 51. See, Charlie, the magnification of 3 is where the spell is at its most has its most strength. That's why Trump had the prostitutes ask him, what storm, Mr. President, 3 times before he answered. What storm, Mr. President? You'll find out. 174. POTUS winner. 174. JFK Jr. promised. 174. Give it up to God. 174. We shall remain free. 174. And there's a whole lot more, but yeah. So Q 17 times 3 is Michael. Michael's the defender of the kingdom, the one that wields the flaming sword of truth, God's word. God's word 105. St. John's 105. Church 61. Red tie 61. When Trump was holding up that Bible, kind of the same way that George Floyd held up a Bible, they just ripped into it. But he's talking to you. He was telling you all kinds of stuff, and he does all the time. When he came forward on 10/5/17 with all those military generals in the Roosevelt room, and he told them, "Hey, maybe what you're looking at is the calm before the storm." Of course, he said, "What storm?" He said, "You'll find out." It was 10/5. Now, we left that little piece of land over there that Tom is sitting on and came across the pond because we didn't want to pay, these taxes. And they tax us when we make it. They tax us when we spend it because they're trying to kill the American dream. American dream, 105. Trump 88, Q17, 105. St. John's, 105. Well, Trump came out on 10/5, which is 105, the year 17. 105, American dream, 17Q. Well, that comes to 122. That's the date of Junior's plane crash. 716 is 23, and 99 is 122. It was rigged, 122. I am alive, America, 122. JFK Jr. lives, 122. Surrender, 122. Unforeseen, 122. And 1 times 22 is 22, which is MAGA. 1 plus 22 is 23, which is I am. And 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5. And in the Bible, grace, which is 34, which is 1, is represented by the number 5. And of course, the plane crash, 716 is 23, which is I am. And 99 is most high. It says I am most high, just in the plane crash. And then JFK's eternal flame date, when they opened it up, was March 15th. That's when COVID started. And it was 1967. Well, 19 is 10. 1 and 9 is 10. 6 and 7 is 13. 10 and 13 is 23, which is I am. And since most high is 99, and 9 and 9 is 18, 1 and 8 is 9, 9 is most high. There's nothing higher than 9. It was March 15th, and 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 5 is 9. So his eternal flame date says, and that's EF, EF is 56. Well, Charlie's 56, Light's 56. And so the date was March 15th. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 is most high. So his eternal flame says, most high I am. And Junior's plane crashes, I am most high. But nothing's happening.
You said, Michael, that Michael the Archangel is the defender of the kingdom. So if you do Michael the Archangel, it's 153, or there's also John Kennedy Jr. 153. So Michael the Archangel or the Archangel Michael, 153. John Kennedy, JR, 153. And you also said about E plus F. EF is 11. And there's a whole bunch of things with 11, but makes you think of a 1 and a 1 or a 2. The towers, there's all kinds of things with 11. And 11, the word 11 comes to 63. And JFK was assassinated in 63. And he signed that silver election. That's silver order 11110. Sorry, you say.
So I was born on February 8th, 63. Well, February 8th comes to 153, which is 17. And I was born in 63. When you spell out 63, it comes to 153, which is 17. We're back to the 17 and the 17, Charlie.
Yep, certainly are. The one thing that's been fascinating on my journey was not understanding this from day one. Tom introduced me to it. But when we started to study it, I had no idea that the satanic, Luciferian, cabal, deep state had been using this against us in plain sight. And when we started uncovering what they'd been doing, everything was there. Everything was there in plain sight. This is part of their code. And I was talking to one of the ambassadors, one of the military generals about this. And he said, Charlie, we're going to have some fun. We're going to use it against them. We're going to turn it right around against them. And he said, that will freak them out. And I mentioned this a year ago. And now we're seeing it firsthand. For me, it's created so much excitement inside me to see their own toolbox being used against them. And of course, the frustration that they're seeing now, we're seeing from them, is the frustration that they know that we're using their tools to dismantle their matrix.
Absolutely. We had to wait. We had to wait till this point because we had to wait for interest rates to get all the way to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. Yeah. And of course, they were at the high in 1980, which is 198, which is President Trump 198, President J. Kennedy 198, and that 153 and 153 I just told you about my date. You know, February 8th and 63. That comes to 306, and 30 times 6 is 180, and 3 times 6 is 18, and that comes to 198. Greatest comeback ever, 198. We are the news now, 198. Coincidence theorist, 198. You know, WWG1, WGA worldwide, 198. We elephant in the room, 198. Pretty soon they're going to have to deal with the elephant in the room, which is us and every other 198 that's coming forward. And it's pretty amazing what's happening. We're just so lucky. You know,
the resurrection 198. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, the resurrection 198. You know, here comes your man 198. Michael Thomas Flynn 198. So yeah, negative, positive 198. See, I'm not negative, I'm positive. And positive is 115, Trump JFK 115. Art of the deal 115. We are at war 115. Key code of God 115. There's a bunch of 115s. But Charlie, earlier you said art of war. Mm-hmm. And you must know art of war 102 because Charlie Ward comes to 102 and world peace is 102. And you know we're going to have world peace. Mm-hmm. So a guy that has 2 pageants where the contestants always say, what would you like, Miss America? Oh, world peace. What would you like, Mrs. World? Oh, world peace. So a guy has to sell two pageants so he can become president of a sandbox, USA Incorporated, that's bankrupt, so he can bring world peace. Just the irony of it, you know? So Charlie Ward is 102. Charlie Ward is art of war. Charlie Ward is world peace.
Wow.
And
Charlie Ward is 1,000, 102. 1,000 years of peace, 1,000, 102. Charlie Ward.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a couple different ways you can do that number 102. You can make it 3, which is Father, Son, Holy Ghost, 235. Or you can do, 12. 12 spelled out comes 87, which is junior, or justice, or truth. And of course, junior truth and justice, junior justice and truth comes to 261. John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. 261, the mere reflection of 162, the invisible man. The invisible man, 162. 162. JFK. J is 10, there's your 1. F is 6, there's your 6. And K is 11, 1, 1, which is 2. 162, the invisible man. The mere reflection of 261, John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. 261. Mere reflection is 198, President J. Kennedy 198. Think mirror 153, John Kennedy Jr. 153. 153 and 198 is 351. God communicates through numbers, 351. The mere reflection of 153, which is the 17th trinary number, which is Q. And then you can do 102. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 spelt out comes to 107, Superman. 0 means nothing, 17Q. It's in the red tie, Charlie.
Yeah, it is.
Red tie. Red 27, tie 34. JFK 27, which can be the invisible man, or it can just be JFK. And then you have tie. TIE. T is 20, which is 107. You can just make that 17, throw the 0 over to the right. I is 9, E is 5, that's 14. Then you have 0, 140, POTUS yes. JFK, POTUS yes. That's what the red tie says. So JFK, DJT, that's what red tie is. Red tie, red 27, tie 34, JFK 27, DJT 34. I'm finishing what he started. Think mirror, Charlie. JFK is finishing what TJT started. And I'm not talking about Junior.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking JFK. He put him right in your face on D-Day. Some people went with the guy on the left, which was too short. Tom got sucked into that, but it was the guy right in the middle with the red tie on.
Mm-hmm.
With the sunglasses. Sunglasses 136. Great Awakening 136. It's their 2 numbers, 13 and 6. 13 times 6. Well, that's 78. Kennedy 78. D-Day Survivor 178. That's what his hat said. That's excellent. Kennedy 178. But see, D-Day Survivor is DDS. D is 4. D is 4. That's 8. And S is 19. And 8 and 19 is 27 JFK. So Trump put him right in your face. And then Trump's he's sitting at his desk, which was the Resolute desk, Resolute 115. And they shot him on 11/22/1963. 11 plus 22 plus 19 plus 63 is 115. Junior's birthday, 11 plus 25 plus 19 plus 60, 115. Tower 1, 115, if you spell out ONE. And we were at war, 115. He's sitting at that Resolute desk. It's JFK's desk, the one that Junior was hiding under. Trump's using that desk because he's hiding Junior. So at that desk, he's got Ivanka on his left, and he has a NASA female science rocket astronaut on his right. And he says, "Mr. President, can you hear me?" Which is 270. 27 is JFK. 2 times 70 is 140, which is POTUS yes. He's telling you JFK, POTUS yes, just like the red tie says. See, when Trump had to stand down, remember when he called for a nationwide stand down on January 6th after the BLM and Antifa break-in, which he knew was going to happen. That's why he delayed his speech 1.6 miles down the road. Think mirror 61, red tie 61. He delayed his speech, and then when he did speak, he spoke extra long so the event would down at the Capitol would take place while most of the people were down listening to him. And so then the event happened, and then he told everybody to go home. He did a nationwide stand. He told everybody to go home, and that's what you have to. That's what you have to do to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807, and to start Nasara Jasara, you have to step down as a president. So he invoked the Insurrection Act of 1807, and in that act it says, because the problem why there's a problem in the country and that the military has to handle, it gives them the green light to do some stuff in our country. The president and the vice president could be the problem. So the founding fathers wrote in there that the president had to appoint a constitutional republic. They had to appoint a president and a vice president, and the president, the vice president had to step down. Now, Trump is still technically the president. Of course, let's face it, Joe's shot. 1% Joe is in closing name only. Trump's still the president, but he appointed a president and a vice president. And that president and that vice president are father and son. Number 19 and 19, which is 38, which is gold is 38, which is AU, which is 121, which is second coming. Tiffany Blue, Boy Wonder, I See Dead People, 120. All those are 121. And as hard as it is to wrap your mind around, that's what Trump's telling you. He told you again on, he told you before he ever became president. He told you on, it was September 20th. And again, September 20th is 9/20. 9 times 20 is 180. 9 times 2 is 18. 180 and 18 is 198. Greatest comeback ever, 198. It was 2013. He said, move slowly, carefully, and then strike like the fastest animal on the planet. Fastest animal on the planet, 270. 27 JFK, 2 times 70 is 140 POTUS yes. JFK POTUS yes 167. When Trump came down the escalator on the 167th day of the year, he told you POTUS yes 167, President J. Kennedy 198. That's what he told you. He told you other things too, which are going to be hard to believe. But that, A through Z, they said there's no coincidences, and coincidences 103, bullshit 103. Can't operate at 103%. It's not possible. You can only operate at 100%. So they told us it was going to be the greatest story ever told. They said, wait till you find out wait till you learn who has been talking to you here. Who is 46? I am the beginning and the end. I am is 23, end is 23, 46. Ward is 46. Hero is 46. Who is 46? Who is 46? Best is 46. The best is yet to come, 228. The best Kennedy to come, 228. I'm on a mission from God, 228. So there's a lot of things we just told you there that it's going to be hard for people to wrap their mind around. They'll have to watch our show we do called The Jesus Strand. And Toronto is a presenter, and Sabrina Gal is a presenter, and then Tom and I kind of follow it up with some gematria.
Thanks, Michael. There's some numbers that you said there, and one that stood out. Well, a couple that stood out, but Charlie, you'll appreciate this because this is your background. And so if you do gold-backed digital currency, that comes to 233. If you do the 10 days of darkness, that comes to 233. And if you do John Fitzgerald Kennedy, that comes to 233. And Michael mentioned a couple of other things as well. You said go home. you said that President Trump said on January the 6th, he said, go home, and you repeated that a couple of times. And so that's a clue for people listening back home. When Michael repeats things, I mean, everything he says you should listen to, but when he repeats things, that's a clear code. And go home, go is 22, which is AU, which is the atomic symbol for gold. It's deal. President Trump is great at making deals. And home is 41, which is king, which is USA, which is alien, which is fun. It's the year that we're in, 2021. So 20 plus 21 is 41. We're in the year of the dream. TSB, my initials, 41. So there's a whole host of things, but it comes to the value of 63. And we spoke about that just a little earlier. President Kennedy was assassinated in 63. The word 11 comes to 63. But if you spell out the word 63, 60 comes to 97, which is Kennedy's, which is also crypto. And then 3, as Michael said earlier, Charlie, is 56, which comes to the value of Charlie. It comes to the value of light. But if you add 97 plus 56, that comes to 153, which comes to Michael the Archangel. It comes to John Kennedy, Jr. And he also mentioned...
You just said Kennedy's light.
Kennedy's light, yeah. 153, Kennedy's light.
Plus, I want to tell you something else. It's 153rd, which is 153, which is Q. 153rd is 233.
Wow. There you go.
And wow, Charlie.
Yeah.
It's in the red tie. So
I'm not as fast as you guys. I'm trying to work out what Jesus loves you is. Because that was the start of my journey.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, he does love you, because loves you comes to 1. Oh, no, actually, no. If you say Jesus love you or you love Jesus, let's do you love Jesus. So love you or you love comes to 115, which comes to Jim Caviezel. And Jesus is 74. And we know that Jim played Jesus. So that's a fun one.
So Jesus loves you is 208. And
wow.
20 times 8 is 160, which is Tiffany blue coat. But then you had to add the 2 times 8 is 16, and 16 and 160 is 176. Well, that's election day, on 11/8. The storm won 18, but Trump is 88. 11 times 8 is 88. Jay Kennedy's 88, and 88 and 88 is 176. And 208 is just 28, because 0 means nothing. And 28 is JR. JR is 28. Man is 28. So
Charlie, you said, sorry, Mo.
Jesus loves you. And we got another. I went to this rally in Bemidji, Minnesota. And the day before, it was 9/17, 2020. And 9 times 17 is 153. And when I got to the rally early, I was standing on the corner of Highway 153. And everybody that came to that rally, Charlie, everybody was going east on 153, because there was a sign right there. It's 153 east. And east is 45. Trump is 45. And 45 and 153 is 198. President Trump, 198. President J. Kennedy, 198. Greatest comeback ever, 198. Here comes your man, 198. The resurrection, 198. And so the next day was Bemidji, Minnesota. And of course, Bemidji, Minnesota is 162. The Invisible Man, 162. And it was 9/18. And 9 times 18 is 162. But see, the way Tom and you, where you're living, 90% of the world doesn't write 9/18. They write 18/9.
Yeah.
And the JFK film by Oliver Stone is 3 hours and 9 minutes. And 3 hours is 180. And then 189, 189 minutes. And of course, it's 3 hours and 9 minutes, which is 309. So 30 times 9 is 270. We're back to 27 is JFK. and 2 times 70 is 140 POTUS. JFK POTUS 167 the day Trump came down the escalator. So 18 and 9 is 27 JFK, and that was the day that that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died on paper, for real, like whatever. When the pen's mired in the sword, so the pen wrote that she died that day. So Ruth RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. R is 18, which Junior is known as R on the keyboards, 18. Beta Ginsburg, B2G7, 27, JFK. And 18 and 27 is 45, and Trump's the 45th president. So Beta Ginsburg, 2 and 7 together is 9. 18 times 9, 162. The Invisible Man, 162. Bemidji, Minnesota, 162. The Mere Reflection of 261. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JR, 261. Now Ruth was a justice, 87. She's supposed to be after the truth, 87, and she died at 87. 87, 87, 87, Russia, 261. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JR, 261. The Mere Reflection, 162. The Invisible Man. So it was the 262nd day of the year, which left 104 days left in the future, because it's a leap year. So that means there's 366 days in the year. And 3 times 66 is 198. President Trump, 198. President J. Kennedy, 198. So in gematria, when you have a 262, you get to separate it and make it 26 and 62. It's one of the rules you get to do. So a vote for Trump is a God vote, and God is 26, and vote is 62. And 26 and 62 is 88. Trump 88, J. Kennedy 88. But see, 262 is a huge paradigm shift is coming. 262, and it left 104 days in the future. And 104 is JFK Jr. alive. 104, JFK is alive. 104. And so when Trump found out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died after he walked off stage, that's when they told him. He said, "Wow, I didn't know that." 233, Follow the White Rabbit. 233, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. 233. So Trump's clearly talking in code, and they're going to break this stuff down for 100,000 plus years to figure out what in the hell was he saying and when was he saying it. Because when he won the election, I'm just going to give you a couple of things he said, but after he won the election, he came forward and to the public, the very first thing he did, the very first words he said to the public after winning, go watch the tape. He says, "Thank you, 115. Thank you, 115. Very much, 115. 345. Do you have your popcorn ready? 345. The predators will become the prey. 345. He told you, get your popcorn ready because I'm going to start kicking some ass." And he started with a 345. 3 squared plus 4 squared, 3 and 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 9 and 16 equal 25. 5 squared. So that's how you start perfect. You start with a perfect right angle square. When you want to build something, Trump's a builder. He started with a 345. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. 345. Look outside, Charlie. It's perfect because he started with a 345. So Trump started with a 345. He's building his greatest construction project ever. He's building the foundation, 119. It was 11-9 when he finally got to see us. 119, which is 9/11 backwards. Foundation's 119. When you fully reduce all the letters, like U is 21, no, it's 3. N is 14, no, it's 5. When you fully reduce all the letters in the word foundation, it comes to 47. The only day we say backwards in this country, 4th of July. John is 47. We should say it 74, which is Jesus, 74. John, Jesus, 121. Second coming, 121. I see dead people, 121. It's going to get real interesting real fast, Charlie. And
it is. This is so important because I understand there's a few people watching this that are going, "Wow, that's blowing my mind." Because when Tom started telling me, my brain was going at 1 trillion miles an hour, and I was like, "Wow!" And then suddenly you look at things and you wonder why. And then Tom and I used to speak nearly every day when we started this journey, because of the fact, in fact, he was on my show like 2 or 3 times a week, just so I could get my brain around it. Because when you're 61 years old, between your ears is rocks. It's not as not as responsive as it used to be in my 20s and 30s. Takes a little bit longer to go in. And I was like, it made sense. It made sense, but it was like I had to, and then suddenly it all started coming together. This is not something that you get in a millisecond unless you're Justin's age, and they get it immediately. And he's on a frequency that is unbelievable, because one of the most important things with understanding this is your frequency. Because if you're stuck in the third dimension, you'll never, ever understand this in a million years. Because it will just go right over your head. What? Exactly.
I was just laughing at that one, Chuck. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I'm surprised.
This is where we need to connect, get our moral compass accurate. And let the light shine in and connect with God who's inside us, not up in the heavens, he's inside us. When you can do that, you can trust God to explain and get a clearer understanding. Don't expect to understand it all at once. Today is the opportunity for you to start to understand gematria. It's something they've used against us for many, 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 many years. And it's now being used against them. And I just thought it would be constructive for people just to understand what's going on behind the scenes. This is the mechanics. It's like what we've got today is very much like when you buy a car, but the engineer is telling you how the engine's working. This is how all the structure is inside, that most people wouldn't have a clue. But today we've lifted the bonnet, so you can see under the bonnet and see what's going on. And then you'll see why certain things happen. And what it will do is it will take fear away, because you'll understand it. So many people at the moment are struggling because they're fearful, they're worried about what's happening. But if you understand it and you connect with God who's inside you, this is not to do with religion. This is to do with spirituality. And there's a big difference. I had to learn the difference of that. And when I learned the difference between religion and spirituality, religion is very divisive, because our cult is better than your cult. Our faith is better than your faith.
Yeah.
Complete and utter rubbish. It's like the human body. I used to use this for those who have been with me for a year or so. When I was with the sheikhs in Dubai, I was explaining to them that one faith is like a finger, and one is like an arm, and one is like ears, one's like nose. They're all different. They're all necessary, and they're all valuable. But I said, you have to remember one thing, that one, religion, is the arsehole. I don't know which one it is, but it still needs the right hand to keep it clean. Every single part is valuable. Every part is needed. And they're all different. And all these different parts of understanding what is going on right now, once you understand the pieces, I'm one piece in the puzzle. Michael is one piece in the puzzle. Tom is one piece in the puzzle. Mickey, who's not with us, is one piece in the puzzle. But I promise you, when Mickey, Tom, Charlie, Jimmy get together, you get more clarity, because you've got 4 different perspectives, and you get the clarity of the whole picture, because I can just give you my perspective. Michael has a very, very wonderful perspective that between him and Tom, I haven't had the chance to talk to Mickey yet, but we'll do it at a round table, because this is constructive for those people who want to understand it. It's almost like now I can say to you, right, go and do some homework and come back and tell me what you find out with the numbers. Because I was sat there, you can see here, I was sat there doing the numbers for Jesus Loves You. And I was, because Tom just does it in his head, so does Michael. They do it so easily. And even my wife was very, very impressed with Tom when he started with all the numbers. It's incredible. But this is all part of the plan to try and educate us in what's going on, the art of war. We're up against it right now. Thank God we're not being hit by bullets. The worst that can happen is we get the odd troll, and I love them anyway because they've got nothing better to do. They're not constructive. They're always destructive, and they don't have a life. But they've got no bullets. They've got no sticks. They've just got bitter and twisted little mouths, and you just go, oh, "Really? Is that all you've got? Is that all you've got?" But we're in a great time right now, and super exciting week coming up. I'm going to have to cut you guys off fairly short there because I want to take a few questions. You can stay on here because maybe we'll get a question from Jimmy, from our insiders here. Can
I give you my color codes, Charlie, quickly?
Yes, of course you can.
And you also said you said 208, and that actually comes from my cousin that died, Paul Dennis Bushnell. We've mentioned him before, but also for you, quantum system 208. So you asked about that, and I think that was Jesus. Was it Jesus Loves You?
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah, 208. So quantum system, and also Michael mentioned just briefly. It triggered a thought. So tower is 81. If you do tower 1, comes to 82. If you do tower 2, comes to 83, which is negative. Add them together. 82 is soldier. 83 is negative. Add them together, comes to 165, resurrection. Which also comes to Michelle Marie Clan, interesting enough, which is Mickey Clan's full name, and Christ's bloodline. But I'm just going to do the color numbers for you, Charlie, because I put these on especially for you. So I'm wearing black. Black is 29, which is Diana. Okay.
Yeah.
Green is 49, which is yes. So black, green, 29 plus 49 comes to 78, which is Kennedy. Okay, so think on that. Dark green. So this is a dark green. Dark is 34, which is DJT, which is also free, which is also Grace. Green again, like I said, is 49, which is yes. Add those together, that comes to 83, which is negative. So we have Michael with us, negative. If you do black plus dark green, that comes to 1112, which is Charles Ward, which is victory. If you do olive green plus black, that comes to 141, which is Tom Bushnell, which is Mr. President, which is Looking Glass, which is reincarnation, which is a number of things. And if you do dark olive green plus black, it comes to 175, which is Diana Francis Spencer, which is also consciousness. So I did the wardrobe change, Charlie, for you and for Michael, and I thought I'd just point those out to everybody. So Michael might want to close, yeah.
Just one thing that Charlie said. He said he was 61 years old. Yeah. Well, 61 is not only red tie, JFK Grace, but 61 spelt out comes to 131, John F. Kennedy, 131. And years old comes to 99. Years is 68, old is 31. It comes to 99, which is most high. So 61 years old is 230. Thank you very much, 230. John F. Kennedy, most high, is 230. Thank you very much, 230, Charlie.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very much, too. Well, Jimmy, if you want to find two questions, in fact, 3 questions, one for me, one for Tom, and one for Michael.
Okay. Also, there's one of our members that has.
Hey, Jimmy.
You guys hear me okay? Hey, Tom, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Michael. Hold on, I'll come on camera real quick here. All right, so
where's your black screen? Where's your back screen, Jimmy?
I got the green screen. I got the green screen coming. I'll put something on there for you, Dr. Charlie. I'll blur it. You know, maybe I'll be at the beach, you know, or we'll do the Constitution. There we go. All right, so we've got one of our members that has a tea company that is selling the pine needle tea. Is that good for me to go ahead and give everybody that link?
For sure.
Okay. So this is Terry, one of our members. Everyone, I'm going to give you a link. And this is for the pine needle tea, which I'll actually be buying some from there. All right. So, Dr. Charlie, I'm sure you know what a lot of the questions that are coming in want to know from Dr. Charlie. They want to know where are we at with the RV? And also another question for you is they're concerned about the FDA approval of the Pfizer vaccine also.
Very right. Well, the two parts. So number one, with the RV, with the GCR, with the quantum financial system, whatever aspects you're looking at there, there's two triggers that we need to keep our eyes out for. Arizona audit is keep your eyes on the audit. We've been told that the whole way through. Nothing's changed on that. But also, as a sideshow, keep your eyes on the exchange rate between the Iraqi dinar and the dollar at the beginning of next week, and to see if the banks will publish what they've been told to publish. That's all I can say. I'm not allowed to say any more than that. I'm teasing there, and Simon probably tell me off for even telling you that much.
Okay.
And the other part of the question,
there's some very concerned people about the FDA is now approving.
They're not approving at all. They're not at all.
Pfizer.
This is all smoke screens out there. This is all smoke screens, and don't get caught up in them. This is the art of war. There's lots of stuff out there that is put out there to provoke, to create. If you're in the fifth dimension, just ask yourself in here, if it looks like shit and smells like shit, it's probably shit. It's very simple. It's not complex. And with stuff like this that comes out like this, next you'll find that Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson have all got it approved. There's absolutely no biological, physical way you can actually do that. I did hear some intel that came from a very, very, very good source, that behind the scenes, the military had switched most of the vaccines out, and they've been working flat out around the world to switch the vaccines just to a basic placebo, because they were so dangerous, and they were worried that because people were dying so rapidly, and they thought, holy shit, they're not supposed to die this quick. They're supposed to die at the end of the year, so they could blame it on another strain. But they weren't even getting outside the hospital, and they were collapsing. They were dying inside the hospital. So they had to change things rapidly there. But don't panic about this, or just be aware of it. Anybody that's had the vaccine, anybody, has not done any research. It's as simple as that. If you've done your research, you won't go anywhere near it.
So Jimmy, which comes to 70, and 7 is 0 means nothing. 7 is God's perfect number, which is 191. All roads to lead to Q 191. Yeah. Wears a white V-neck 120, and he's after the truth 120. And 120 spelled out comes to 141. Mr. President 141. I am the storm 141. He's talking about the Arizona audits 158. Perfect storm 158. Well, you want to know about the RV? Well, I've been right every time. I've been saying bullshit on everything that's come out because the trend is your friend. They've been saying it for years, and it's not going to happen until House Resolution Bill 5404 that was implemented by the 115th Congress. Trump JFK 115. We were at war 115. Art of the Deal 115. It was signed on 322, which is Skull and Bones Nazi number, 2018, 218, where we go one, we go all, 218. And Guardians of the Galaxy, 218. And that House Resolution Bill 5404, just look it up, HR 5404, which backwards is 85. 54 and 4 is 58, backwards is 85, storm 85. And it says that the dollar will be weighed in a fixed weight of gold.
Yeah.
The gold and silver spelt out come to 123, and FDA approves comes to 123. So everything's code. Everything's it doesn't take this long to do an audit. Trump told you on election night, words 8 through 15, and 8 times 15 is 120, the truth 120. Words 8 through 15, which is 23, which is I am. He said, sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated. So he told you it was double complicated. And he said he was sorry to keep you waiting. You can play that to your mind every damn day. And you'll know that, hey, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but it's complicated business, complicated. So he couldn't win on 120.21, which forward and backwards is 122, and forward and backwards comes to 167. Enjoy the show, 167. He had to have this play out because you can't become president, start arresting the FDA and the CDC and the NIH and the WHO and the Food and Drug, all these people, because he would have looked like Hitler walking in arresting all these freaks that he could have arrested for every reason that we know about. But the comatose vertical meat suits, they don't have a clue what's going on. And he would have looked like Hitler. So he has to show them. So he has to give them rope so they can hang themselves. And that's what they're doing. There's no way they win. And I believe, Operation Warp Speed 220, American Badass President 220, military operation 220 was to take those drugs, fly them 500 miles down the road, drop them off at Air Force hangar, put in the new stuff, deliver that stuff. And all those naturopaths and doctors that were coming out with the truth that were dying left and right when Obama and Trump were, just the switchover was taking place. I believe they're all alive. They've all been taken out of the system by us. And they're in the Gone with the Wind program, as far as I'm concerned. And they're the ones proving that this shit is poison so that Trump can come back and say, look, this is what your stuff does. This is what it is. Because there's been no double blind studies, which is white paper science for the truth. 120, white V-neck shirt, 120. They haven't done any of that. It's experimental, and you don't have to take it. And that's why people need to stand up and learn the truth and stand up for their rights. See, you can't give me an experimental anything. You don't know what's in it. The doctors don't know what's in it. Nobody will tell you what's in it. Everybody that's getting it doesn't know what's in it. And it cancels your life insurance policy. It's against your constitutional rights. Your people, wake the hell up.
You're absolutely right. It makes your life policy null and void. It makes your health policy null and void. And now country by country is saying that they will not take blood from anybody that's been vaccinated.
Yeah, I want sorry to cut you off. I want to say one more thing, Charlie, that's pertinent to this conversation we just had. And that's when JFK Jr. is in your face as your vice president, which he already is. Yeah. When he's in your face, means everybody in the world knows it. That's when House Resolution Bill 54 will get signed. And that is when we can start talking about the RV, which is 40.
Yeah. I just wasn't allowed to say it. I'm glad you said it.
Well,
and you know what? And let's be honest. Anyone with a logical thinking mind would feel that way because they would know that they would need to be in charge in order to enact that and make it happen, right? I mean, that is common. I would say that would be common sense because these people that are in there right now aren't going to do it, right?
We're in control. Trump's still your president. Biden's James Woods with a voice modulator and a mask on.
Dude, it's embarrassing to be, we're Americans and it's embarrassing. Are you
I don't think
48? Are you an American?
I think James Wood has done an Oscar-winning performance.
Absolutely. What makes a good movie?
He made him look like a complete idiot.
Q said, "What makes a good movie?" First you have Donald Trump saying, "Enjoy the show." Then you said, "Get your popcorn ready." At two major events in the presidential run. And so we're clear. And then Q says, what makes a good movie? Great actors.
Yeah.
And great is 51, which is QQQ 51. So they're Q actors.
Yeah, they are.
Great is 51, which is Michael.
Which is Batman.
And Robin.
Which is Giant.
Well, I want to thank you guys very, very much. Michael, thank you so much. That was so constructive. And Tom, thank you once again.
Anytime.
We should get a round table together with Mickey.
Someday I want to talk to my hero on your show, and that's Mel K.
Well, let's do a round table with Mel K on that. I have no
because the first thing I could appreciate what she was doing, because every time she came on your show, she had to study and then tell you a bunch of stuff. And most of it I knew. The very first thing that she told me that I didn't know was that I already knew the seeding company owned all our stock certificates.
Yeah.
But when they were kept at the basement of 55 Water Street,
yeah,
it's Hurricane Sandy. And then they flooded the crap out of them and then set them on fire afterwards so they could, so when the shit show went down, nobody would be able to prove who owned what.
Yeah.
So that was the very first thing I learned from her. And, but I knew all the other stuff. So I knew she knew what she was talking about because I already knew all that stuff. And so as she was learning it week by week, I'm going, man, this girl's smart. Man, she's right on the bullshit. She's right on the bullseye. So I really like Mel K. I really like her.
Yeah. Which state are you in, Michael?
Washington, 1:30.
Okay, so you're 7 hours behind me. We're 6:20 at night here.
So but I don't care. I'll get up at any time.
Yeah,
just
because
go with Mel K. Just go with Mel K time, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, Mel K comes on with me on Mondays every Monday, and she's on with me at 3:00, 3:15 on Monday. So 3:15 is 8:15 your time in the morning.
No. Oh, 3:15 your time. Yeah.
3:15 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than willing. And I know
let's do it. Yeah, that'd be great, Charlie. Yeah.
Let's do that. So
Mickey can probably join as well. I'd have thought at that time.
Perfect. I'll let Mel know. She sent me a message earlier today. She's got a load of stuff to tell me about New York. So brilliant.
Good stuff.
So for everybody on the Insiders Club, you've got something to look forward to there. Mel K with Michael, with Tom, with Mickey on Monday. So absolutely brilliant.
Lisa Marie, who's from Long Island, she was supposed to be on with Tom and I and Mickey last night. Didn't make it. She's all over Como and what's going on in New York. Lisa Marie does. Yeah, Lisa Marie does the Hopi Indian prophecy, and Donald Trumpo tweeted it the same day we did it. So he's watching us and he knows what she's doing. And that Hopi Indian prophecy falls right in line with what we're doing with the Jesus strand. They're the same thing, just different cultures,
Sure.
So it's pretty amazing. Yeah. So we'll bring her on.
Well, we look forward to in two days' time. We can continue this.
Yeah. Everybody thought she was Lisa Marie Presley when she first was on our show, on our chat.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's like, I'm not Lisa Marie Presley,
She's an
Elvis has been tweeting out our videos, Michael, Charlie. So Elvis, Joyce Elvis on Telegram is always retweeting when we go on with Michael. So
he just did the Roseanne Barr interview we had she had with us.
And Mel's responsible for making that happen, because Mel and Huna Flash are the ones that introduced me to Roseanne a few months ago when we did a round table. So all roads lead to I was going to say Rome, but we could say Charlie or Michael, so it's all good. It's all good.
All roads to lead to Q191.
The
beginning of the end 191. God's perfect number, which is 7. God's perfect number 191. The beginning of the I am 191. -48 plus -472. My Twitter handle 191. It's just my life is beyond stupid coded, Charlie. It's just really beyond stupid coded.
It's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining.
233.
Yeah, it's beyond stupid coded 233. John Fitzgerald Kennedy 233.
Thank you, Charlie. It's been awesome, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you,
Tom.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you,
See
Jimmy.
you on Monday, Charlie.
Take care, brothers. Love and light, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care, folks.
Thank you, Charlie.